Hello! Today we are going to explain the story of the movie titled White as Snow, which was released in 2019. Well, let's start with the story. After the death of her father, Claire was taken care of by her stepmother, who inherited her father's hotel business, while Claire herself became an employee of the hotel. Before work, she jogged and showered. After putting on her work uniform, Claire went to meet Maud, her stepmother, who immediately complained that they were out of apples. Maud reminded her that her husband, who was also Claire's father, hated laziness. After a long day at work, Claire goes home and rests. And the next morning, while jogging, someone in a car suddenly follows her and stops. The person quickly pushes Claire into the trunk of the car. Unfortunately, no one hears Claire's screams. The way, rearview mirror reveals the mastermind of the kidnapping, who none other than Claire's stepmother, Maud, disguised in a cap, glasses, and a jacket. The car speeds up until it skids and crashes into a tree in the middle of the forest. The accident allows Claire to escape from the trunk. She immediately runs to find a way out of the forest, but she's confused and meets a mysterious man who points a gun at her and tells her to close her eyes. After, a gunshot was heard and Claire fainted. Claire woke up in a house inhabited by a man named Pierre. This man brought her breakfast and medicine. Claire then asked him to explain how she was here. Pierre said he was hunting wild boar. However, Pierre misdirected himself and hit Claire. After that, Claire asked him to report to the police, but Pierre refused because he didn't want to go to jail again. Pierre left the room and came back to bring clothes for Claire. He claimed to have changed Claire's clothes, also washed them while she was still unconscious. After getting dressed, Claire went out of the room to look around the house. Suddenly, a man burst into the kitchen looking for an inhaler. He introduced himself as Vincent. After getting acquainted with Claire, Vincent invited her up to his room for further acquaintance. He also introduced Claire to his pet dog. Here, Claire found out that Vincent was a musician who played the cello. Vincent found her presence inspiring and played the cello for her. Besides Vincent, Claire also meets Francois. While taking a nap, she is woken up by Francois, Pierre's identical twin. Claire is at first confused to distinguish between the two, but there is a striking difference, which is Francois often stutters when speaking. Soon after, Pierre asks Claire to leave his house, fearing that the person who wants to kill her will eventually find her there. Claire convinces Pierre to let her stay longer. This causes them to argue. Next day, Claire goes for a walk and meets Vincent and his dog on their way to the vet. Claire persuades Vincent to come along because she is alone at home while Francois and Pierre are away. While in the vet, coincidentally, Claire's beauty attracts the vet. Back from the vet, Vincent invites Claire to stop for a drink, but instead, they stop at Charles's bookstore, who is immediately enchanted by Claire's beauty. He also suggests some local tourist attractions to Claire. Afterwards, they go to the bar and get to know each other better. Claire tells him that, as a child, she loved to play the violin, but after her mother died, she no longer wanted to play the violin. When Vincent heard her story, he gave her a violin and told her not to stop playing music. Not long after, Pierre showed up to protest to Claire for daring to leave the house and attract attention. As a result, the residents of the small town knew that there was a woman in their house, increasing the possibility that Claire's killer could easily find her. The next morning, Claire approaches Pierre, who is chopping firewood, and the two become intimate and sleep together. Later that night, Claire wakes up to Pierre watching TV, then she joins the movie next to him. And later she starts flirting with Pierre and invites him to sleep with her. After the movie is over, Claire finds out that the one currently with her was Francois and not Pierre. This incident just made them laugh. The next day, Claire meets new people while jogging. She meets a biker named Gilbaud, who turns out to be a priest. Claire is taken to a room in the church where Gilbaud asks if Claire wants to confess something, and Claire shyly tells him about her life with the twins Francois and Pierre. Soon after, Claire decides to get a job so as not to burden Pierre and Francois. Finally, she gets a job as a waitress at a nearby diner. She also tries to call her stepmother, but when the phone is connected and Claire says her name, the line is disconnected. As it turns out, it was her own stepmother who picked up the phone. Maud then remembered what happened the week before, where from behind the window in one of the rooms, she saw her boyfriend, Bernard, helping Claire pick up a fallen towel near the swimming pool. By the time Bernard entered the room, Maud asked him to stop hiding their relationship since her husband had also died. Maud also asked them to take a break for a while to mend their strained relationship, which Bernard reluctantly agreed to. Shortly after, he calls Claire and confesses his love for her. Thus, Maud, who overhears the conversation from the next room, becomes jealous and plans to kill Claire.
Vous n'êtes pas croyant.
A week passes. After not seeing Claire for so many days, Bernard began to mention Claire's absence to Maud when they had lunch together. At that time, Maud tried to reassure him by saying that this was not the first time Claire had disappeared for a few days. Just then, her cell phone rang, which turned out to be from Claire. Elsewhere, Claire is stealing the show at the diner where she works, and a patron named Charles even introduces her to his son, Clement. Another patron, a veterinarian named Sam, doesn't want to miss the chance to win Claire's heart. He says he dreams of her and invites her to the club that night. They have a fight with a patron who tries to flirt with Claire, but she is saved by Clement. And on the way home, Claire confesses that she likes Sam. The next day, Maud arrives in the town where Claire lives. She sees Claire at work, but doesn't meet her right away. Then Maud comes to Charles' library, who immediately praises her beauty. He said she was the second most beautiful woman he had seen that week, and suggested she stop by a nearby church that had a guest house where she could stay for a while. Maud followed Charles' advice and met Father Gilbaud at the church. Then she said that she was looking for her stepdaughter, who had been missing for a few days. In addition, Maud mentioned Claire's name, which the priest immediately recognized. After that, Maud asked the priest not to tell anyone of her presence for fear that Claire would run away again. According to Maud, Claire ran away because she was angry at not being cared for by Maud after her father's death. After learning the situation, the priest then took the initiative to bring the two together. Claire still didn't know that she would meet Maud the next day after jogging with Clement. When she returned from jogging, Claire stopped by the church and met Father Gilbaud. The priest said that someone wanted to meet Claire, and Claire was delighted to learn that it was Maud, her stepmother. Maud said she could find her here from yesterday's phone call, but the phone connection was lost. Luckily, she was able to guess Claire's location based on the phone number that came into her cell phone. Claire believed her. Then she continued to tell her what happened to her until she ended up in this town. She even said she wanted to live here because she had many friends and wanted to forget her past. Maud didn't mind. She also wanted to stay in the town for a few days. The meeting had to end because Claire had to go home and get ready for work, so Maud offered her a ride home, which of course she accepted. On the way, Maud suddenly stopped near a cliff. She felt her car tire was flat and asked Claire to go down to check. At that point, Maud actually planned to push Claire off the cliff. But Father Gilbaud passed by and thwarted Maud's plan. Maud was forced to drive her home, but she invited Claire to meet again next week. Claire agrees and gets out of the car. At work, Charles confides to Claire that his son Clement has shut down and is yelling at him because he doesn't like their closeness. He asks Claire to come to the house and convinces her to talk to Clement. Claire comes and tells Clement that she likes him and the problem is solved on the spot. Elsewhere, Maud prepares a new plan to kill Claire. This time she concocts poison and injects it into the apples that will be brought later. Sunday arrives, and as promised, Claire meets Maud. They go on a picnic by a waterfall where Maud gives Claire a poisoned apple. She is about to eat it, but Clement suddenly appears, so Claire invites Clement to join her and gives him the apple she's holding. Maud automatically grabs the apple and tries to drive Clement away. Because of that, Clement feels bad and leaves, but Claire chases after him. At that time, they have fun in the forest until it rains. Seeing Claire and Clement's relationship, Maud takes the opportunity to ruin Claire's reputation with Bernard. On the phone, she says that Claire is an unfaithful lover who has relationships with many men. Bernard is really surprised to hear this. In the evening, Maud goes for a walk and sees Claire dancing in the club with several men in turn. Maud considers this an opportunity to carry out her evil plan. She orders 2 glasses of wine, one of which is poisoned, but this plan almost fails because Clement bumps into her and drops the poisoned glass. However, Maud, woman, didn't give up. She danced intimately with Claire and gave Claire another poisoned wine. Claire immediately felt dizzy and nauseous. Nobody suspected anything because they thought they were just having fun dancing. With Claire seemingly drunk, afterwards Maud pretended to take her home. On the way home, Maud confessed to Claire that she had only been in love once, but Claire had ruined it by saying that Claire had taken Bernard away from her. Later, she pushed Claire out of the moving car. Moreover, Maud stopped at the edge of the ravine to make sure that Claire was not moving. Next, Maud went to the church and lit some candles. Unfortunately, her shirt accidentally caught fire, and the fire quickly spread, burning her and killing her instantly. On the other hand, Claire's fate was better. She survived and was taken to the hospital. 7 men who were close to her, namely Pierre, François, Vincent, Clément, Charles, Sam, and Father Gilbeau took turns taking care of Claire until she woke up. Subsequently, Claire woke up happy.